Hi, friends. We're so glad you're here. The Big Ideas podcast exists to empower the next generation of entrepreneurs. Join us for unscripted conversations while you're at home with your kids or even just driving them around to activities. We hope these short but powerful messages will give you inspiration and encouragement for your next big ideas. Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Big Ideas podcast. I am Ashlee Ilg, and I am so excited that you are tuning into this episode. This is a really fun one for me, going along with our theme of seasonal and holiday topics. I know this time of year, a lot of people are starting to decorate their home. Maybe you are part of the group that loves to decorate right on the 1st of November and just really soak up that full season of having your home decorated for Thanksgiving or Christmas. I know I've got a lot of friends that hit that criteria, or maybe you are the last minute decorator and it's not necessarily your favorite thing to do, but you do it and you're more of like the maybe mid-December, you get your tree up and you're ready to go. And there's no wrong way to do it. There's certainly no judgment. You know, there's probably most of us who are kind of in between those more extreme decorator levels. I'm somewhere like early to mid-November. I don't usually get my act together as early as November 1st, but I do love seeing as everybody starts, decorating and putting lights out and doing all of that. I love watching how other people decorate their home. And the message for this podcast, though, is decorating for the season that brings joy, not chasing after some Southern living standard or what your neighbor is doing or what you see on social media that everybody else, quote unquote, seems to be doing. To decorate their home. It's to remind you that it is your home. It is your family. It is what's important to you. That's what you're decorating. That's what our decorating should resemble. That's what it should reflect. It shouldn't look like everybody else's. If it does, then we might want to ask ourselves, like, why are we doing this? Are we doing this because it brings us joy or because it makes us maybe feel like we're keeping up with, a standard that maybe we don't necessarily need to be giving energy to doing. It's a message, this podcast message is to help encourage us to just really embrace what does our family want in our home this time of year. When there is maybe an extra special time or dedication to decorating to celebrate this season, maybe you have more guests in your home this time of year. So it puts a little extra emphasis on, what our home looks like and how we're being hospitable and opening up our doors. But at the same time, our homes are still being lived in. As y'all know, I have 5 kids. We have multiple businesses that are year round. Nothing really slows down for us in these months. The only thing that does slow down for us a little bit is homeschool, because we do take a good chunk of a break from our curriculums. But that doesn't say the learning doesn't stop, right? So decorating I love decorating. I love taking the time to do it. I love seeing how other people decorate, but I thought it would be really a fun, maybe important message to share of just encouraging us all to decorate in a way that brings us joy, in a way that brings our family joy. And if that means that you don't decorate, let me just say that on the forefront, then there's also no pressure that you have to decorate. If you've maybe never even prioritized decorating for this time of year, this is not the time to start. So if non-decorating brings you joy, by all means, keep doing that. But I really just wanted to get into maybe some tips, some things that we do, some things that we've learned over the years that work for us that could bring some value to y'all as well. And so, like I've already said too, this is not the Southern living standard. I know we live in the South and there is definitely some appreciation for that style, but trying to avoid that comparison and really decorating our home to reflect us and our values is so important to us. And so as you are decorating, think about what is important to you. For our family, our one of our main centerpieces is our nativity scene. The stable where Jesus was born. We have Mary and Joseph. We have the angel and all the animals, the wise men. Being able to retell that story in just a beautiful setting. It's a nativity scene we've had since before we had kids. Praise the Lord, it has made it through moves and babies and curious kids' fingers all over them. And so it's one of our favorite things to set out. What are some things that you have to have out to remind you that, the importance of this season and what we're really celebrating? For everybody, that's probably a little bit different. different. A really fun story I thought I would share with y'all. Another thing that's important to us, maybe family heirlooms. My mom has done an amazing job, and my grandmother, over the years of giving us, like my mom's kids, my siblings and I, and now my kids, her grandkids, an ornament every year. And I have saved them my entire life. And for the most part, I have all of them. I have lost a few over the years just from falling and breaking, of course. But those family heirlooms are my most important favorite ornaments to put on our tree. So the funny story I brought up, when Andy and I were very first married, our very first Christmas together, we were at the store buying stuff to decorate our first home, our first Christmas, newlyweds. And Andy grew up with having the like glass bulbs on his Christmas tree. I don't think there was much else on the tree, and there's no judgment if that's what you do, and that's fine. But in comparison, I grew up having these really like memorable family heirloom-esque ornaments over the years that we just collected, from my being a baby, my baby's first Christmas ornament to, I was 23, 24 when we had our first Christmas together. And so he was like, yeah, we need to get some of these glass balls. What colors do you want for our tree? And I was like, glass balls, we don't need those. And he was like, well, what else do you put on your tree? And I was like, well, you put meaningful things on your tree. You don't just put glass balls on the tree just because they're, the color combination you want. And he was so confused and I was so confused. And it was one of those first newly married, like, oh, well, what's important to you? Well, what's important to you? And so we compromised. We got some of the glass balls, and then he helped me hang up my family heirloom ornaments as well. And so we do have a combination on our tree now, but the combination is meaningful to us. And those glass balls have significance to us. And I think it's just such a funny, like real life story of like, well, what's important to you? Why are you just putting them on the tree because, Target told you that looked good, or because Pinterest told you that was, what looked good? And again, no judgment. I have several friends who are amazing decorators and their trees are just fantastic. And I just love to stare at them and they're beautiful. But for our family, what's important to us are ornaments that are meaningful. Books are another really easy way to decorate, whether they're Christmas books or family books, or just books that your kids have picked out that are meaningful. Maybe pull a special set of books out for this time of year. They're a beautiful way to decorate as well. We have a pretty significant, pretty hefty collection of Christmas books, anything from like baby board books about Christmas to more meaningful, like adult type of Christmas books. And so we'll set them out as a centerpiece on one of our tables, and just have a great excuse to grab a book also that looks pretty even when it's not being read. So again, just asking yourself what's important to you and starting there with your decorating. And if it's not important to you, maybe don't choose to use it this year. Totally up to you. The other main piece that we use for decorating is our kids' artwork. Again, we have 5 kids. Our oldest is 14. And so I don't really tend to hold on to everything because I don't like the clutter. I don't like saving every little thing, but I have saved quite a bit of artwork that they've made over the years that is around Christmas time. And it's got the handprints, or it's got, the reindeer with their face in it and things like that, or like the snow globes that they've made that are just precious, and they love setting it up because they remember making it. And even if it's, borderline tacky and doesn't really go where it, is being hung or set out, it's your home. It should reflect your family and your children and what's important to you. And so if it brings your kids joy, just remember it's only out for a short window of time, and give those special pieces of artwork a home for that season and part of your decorating. I would definitely recommend that. Hey friend, I wanted to take a quick pause to ask if you've taken the quiz yet to find out what type of dreamer are you. It's super important to discover what's working for you, but also some things that may be keeping you from really pursuing your greatest purpose. It takes just 2 minutes to find out if you're the skimboarder, the sunbather, the sandcastle builder, or the surfer babe. So jump over to dreamerquiz.com and be sure to share your results and tag me in it. Now back to the show. Okay, so just some real quick tips on decorating. Again, keeping it simple, keeping it where it's bringing you joy. It's not going to be a whole to-do list of setting it out, but then also, if y'all are like me, the idea of putting it all away after Christmas is also always in the back of my mind. So everything I set out, I'm thinking, do I really want to go back and climb up in the attic to put this away again later? And if it doesn't really have that much significance, I have a really hard time committing to putting it all back away later. So everything I take out, I always ask myself, am I going to really care that much that I'm going to do all of this just to put it back away? And so that might also help to streamline what you are setting out and what you're not. So couple quick ways to maybe decorate that is not necessarily decorating, but it could really help this time of year as you are making space for newer or different things. Number one is to rearrange your furniture. Not necessarily decorating, right? But rearranging your furniture can give a room an entirely different look. It can make space for maybe another chair, or, pulling a dining room chair. And if you have company over for games or, something like that, or maybe making room in a corner for your Christmas tree. But, just being open and creative to rearrange your furniture, create a fresh look, maybe removing some of the decorations, the decor that's around year round. Putting out a pretty Christmas decoration right next to something that's been there all year might start to just feel cluttered. I know by the end of December, I start to feel like my rooms are closing in on me if I have too much in the rooms. And so I've learned over the years to take down most of my decor that's out for year round and just replace it. I put it back in the bins where all of my Christmas stuff came out of. And so that my Christmas stuff is really the only decor that's out, or it's paired with something that's really, really simple. And so that also helps feel like in January, maybe when you take your Christmas stuff down, or February, no judgment, when you put your, quote unquote year-round decor back out, it feels new again. It feels fresh. It doesn't feel like it's been kind of closing in on you for the last 2 months. And it just helps your Christmas decor decorations stand out a little bit more. So never underestimate the power of less being more, right? I guess that's the point in that. Taking down some decor to replace it, and then not just adding to it, right? I don't know what number we're on, but another one would be, and this might be kind of silly, but for me, this is a real tip for me, is I don't let myself go to Home Goods this time of year. I just don't. I am way too tempted. They have way too many cute things. If I don't go in there really focused on, I'm finding a gift for this person, or I need this that I can only find here, which that's still usually very dangerous territory for me. I don't just, let me just go browse Home Goods, which also I don't really have time for that much these days. But if you're like me and Home Goods is like your kryptonite and you just cannot say no to another Christmas tree, glittery Christmas tree or wall art, just don't put yourself in that situation. So I'm speaking to myself really on this tip. If anyone else is out there, this is for you as well. But I'm going on record to say I do not shop at Home Goods arbitrarily this time of year. It's too tempting. I don't need it. And it's just better to not even walk in the doors. So maybe comment on the show notes if that's you, because I do feel like we might need a little bit of encouragement to say no this time of year, because it is really cute stuff there. I'm sure. I haven't been there yet. Okay, couple more tips to keep your decorations, kind of simple and fresh, but also still feel full. Use greenery, like the Christmas tree branches that are left over after you have trimmed your tree, or the viney, wintergreen, Fraser fir garland. Those are beautiful, and they don't add clutter. They just help the room feel festive and full, but still simple and classy. And maybe one piece of decor next to that, it just really elevates the space, and it's so beautiful. And if it's fresh, it adds a really nice smell to your room as well too. If you guys like the smell of Christmas tree, there's nothing quite like it. There's nothing quite as nostalgic as Christmas tree Fraser fir, in my opinion. So having some fresh garland, it goes a long way, and it does not have to be expensive. Like I said, you can pull it off of your own tree if you've trimmed it. Even Home Depot, they'll have a lot of leftovers. You can be really creative with that. And then finally, I kind of say this both ways. So making decorating a family event, right? Getting your kids involved, letting them set out things that are important to them. Like I said, their artwork or things that are, not breakable and really doesn't really matter where it goes. I know for me, I've got, the decorations that are a little bit more fragile that go on one of my mantles that I kind of like it a certain way. But there's definitely decor that our kids can help us do. And then also, again, if you're like me, I also find a lot of joy in staying up late after the kids have gone to bed, turn on some Christmas music, have some hot chocolate, and I love decorating some of my spaces just by myself. And maybe that's the planner in me, or sort of the, I don't want to say controlling perfectionist, but that's just where we're going to go with that. But I love having that like quiet time to myself. Maybe it's just the quiet time, honestly, but it's a good excuse to just kind of celebrate your space, celebrate your life, celebrate the season that's to come, in the midst of maybe some hard moments or some hard memories, or if you are walking through a tough season. I know this season is hard for a lot of people. Finding those moments where even decorating or creating a pretty space can be meaningful for you. And if that means not doing it all with all of your kids, or giving them some dedicated spaces that they can decorate, letting them decorate, their tree, but then also not feeling bad. Like there's no shame if you are like, I'm going to decorate this and it's going to stay the way I decorated it. I will be the first to tell you that's also okay. This season is for joy. This season is for celebrating. This season is for just embracing where we're at, what our home represents, what we can do with our space. And if it's bringing you joy, the chances are it's going to be very welcoming for everyone who walks in the door, and just help you create a season that is so memorable, so special. And I hope this message has resonated with y'all. I can't wait to see how y'all decorate, or when you do it, what you do and what you don't do. I think it's all beautiful, and I've loved sharing with y'all today, and I can't wait to talk with you soon. Thanks so much. Thanks again for listening, friend. We would love to hear what is really speaking to you in today's episode. It means so much to us, and we would love for you to take a screenshot of you listening to our podcast, share it on Instagram and Facebook. Definitely tag me in it so I can reshare it. Our kids especially really love hearing what you're getting out of our show, so it really means the world. Thanks again for joining us.